Yeah, it was scary, and there was a lot of moments where I was thinking, "Am I seriously going to lose this baby after I've had, already birthed her and
right.
everything, and like carried her for 9 months?" So
Mhm.
it was kind of, I would say, it was a pretty traumatic. There was other things involved too, but it was just pretty traumatic birth for me. So. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to our podcast, Two Peas in a Pod.
I'm Maddie.
And I'm Liz. It's good to be back.
Yeah.
We've been gone for a couple weeks now between snow, and sicknesses, but we're back, guys. Don't worry, we're back. We're going to start the podcast off a little different today, and we're going to start by playing a little game. Basically, we're just going to be playing categories, but y'all are going to hear us play. So I have a thing, and it's generated a random letter for us, and then we're gonna take that letter, and it's gonna give us 12 random categories, and whatever the letter is, we have to name something that starts with that letter for each category, if that makes sense. If any of y'all have played categories, then you know how to play already. So, okay, here we go. Okay, so our random letter is T, and let me reveal the categories. Okay. So the first one is types of weather.
Tornado.
Thunderstorm is mine. And then the second one, things found in a desk.
Tape.
Oh no. Okay.
Sorry, do I get to go first?
No, it's fine. I mean, yeah.
Or how
I'm
do we
trying
do
to.
it?
Well, no, that's fine. I'm just trying to think of something. You thought of it fast.
Sorry.
Tape. A desk. That's like. Oh, a thumbtack. I just thought of. Okay. Yeah. All right, and then number 3 is things you make.
Tacos.
Ooh, that's a good one. Things you make. How about tiramisu? That's kind of a random, but it's a dessert.
Oh. Okay.
Have you ever had it?
No, I don't even know what you're talking
Okay, it's pretty good. It's kind of a coffee flavored dessert though.
about.
So,
Fun.
okay. Number 4 is footwear. Footwear. Why did I say it like that? Tennis shoes.
Oh, that's a good one.
You could also probably do like a brand, maybe. I don't know.
Tacova.
Tacova.
Boots.
Yeah, that's a brand. Okay. 5 is bodies of water. Ooh. A body of water that starts with a T. Terrain? No, that's like that's not water. There's no way. I don't think is there? I don't think there is a body of water. We're probably gonna have to skip that one because I don't know a body of water
Yeah.
that starts with T. If y'all know it, you're probably screaming at us right now.
A tank
Okay.
or something.
Oh yeah, I
Has
guess that's
water.
water tank. Yeah.
Of water.
Musical groups. Ooh, groups, as in like a band.
Oh.
The Beatles. The counts.
The Backstreet Boys.
There you go. You could probably add the to any. I mean, most of them probably are the whatever they are. Okay. Uh-oh. It says time's up, but we're not. It's fine. Okay. And the next is internet lingo.
Turn
Ooh.
up.
Turn up. Okay, that's
No,
a
I'm just
good
kidding,
one.
I
No,
don't know.
that
Is
is
something
lingo.
people say?
Turn up. Ooh. What do we say? What are the millennials and Gen Z? That starts with a T. I honestly don't know. I don't use the dumb, cringy words, though. I try not to. That was so quick of you to think of turn up. How in the world? I mean, if it's internet lingo, if you're like texting someone, this may not count. So, I mean, I'm disqualified if this doesn't count. But TTYL is what I'm thinking,
Yeah.
which is like an acronym, really. But whatever. I can't think of anything else.
No, I think
Okay,
that counts.
number 8 is game terms. Ooh, timeout. I'm thinking of like a sports.
Touchdown.
Okay, good. Yeah. I mean, it could be sports. It could be a
Why
board
am I
game.
yelling like I'm in like a game show or something?
You're doing really good too. You're quicker than me on half of them. Okay. Number 9 is things you shout. There you go. There you go, Maddie. Shout it. Turn up.
Touchdown.
Thanks. I don't know.
Shout.
What would you
I'm
shout?
trying to think of what I like scream at Sagan on a daily. That a girl, Sagan.
You're her biggest cheerleader and hype man. Okay, let's see. Number 10 is world leaders and politicians. Trump. I mean, come on. That's Theodore Roosevelt. There you go. That's one too.
Okay, good job.
Yeah. Okay. There's probably several T. I'm not gonna think too hard into it though.
No.
Okay. 11 is board games.
Trouble.
Ooh, I should. Oh man, I
Sorry.
should know this because I play a lot.
Yeah, you do.
I can't think of any. Okay, I just thought of one. Tapple. I play that game. It's like it's actually kind of like this. It's different category. It's a little different, but
Yeah.
Tapple is a fun game. Okay.
I love Tapples.
Oh
with
wait,
peanut
that's not
butter.
even a board game though. Technically, Tapple's not a board game, but we're just gonna count it. It's
Yeah,
fine.
that counts.
Okay, four-letter words.
Turd.
Oh my gosh. Maddie, she would definitely win this
I'm
game if we were
sorry.
playing this for like points. She's got like all of them so quickly. Four-letter word. Tank. How about tank?
Yeah, good job.
T-A-N-K. Okay. Well, that's that.
Okay, I'm gonna take my word back because that's kind of a bad word.
Okay.
Tape.
Okay, now back to the topic at hand. What are we going to talk about today? I think the last thing that we left off saying was we had talked a little bit about our honeymoons, and then I left it on a cliffhanger saying that not long after you got back from your honeymoon, your late honeymoon, that you found out you were pregnant.
Yeah.
So do you want to talk a little bit about that?
Sure. So we didn't go on like a honeymoon right after our wedding. I think I talked about that. So our honeymoon technically was in August, and in September, a month after that, I found out I was pregnant. I had started a teaching job in August, at like basically a dream school. Like it was where my internship was, and so I knew all the people I was working with. It was like just a perfect situation. So a month after, I started my career basically, I found out I was pregnant. Me and Dustin had only been married 6 months. So that was really hard. I knew it would all work out, but I had like a hard time with it because I always envisioned myself being so excited about finding out I was pregnant, and like it was supposed to be a happy moment, and I was terrified. We were living in an apartment. We hadn't gotten a house yet. So I just had all these plans for myself before bringing a child into the picture. But obviously the Lord knew like what, his plan's greater than mine. And we were able to do everything that we wanted to do with Sagan. So, it didn't stop us from that. It just,
It's
when
hard.
you don't see the outcome and see the plan, that's a big thing. A kid, like
Mhm.
that's
Life-changing. Very
yeah.
life-changing.
And I just felt I really grieved me and Dustin's relationship too, because we had dated for 7 years and we were finally married, and I just felt like I wanted to spend more time married before kids too. Just I don't know. Neither of us have really been able to like travel and stuff because he came from a really big family, and I came from like a single dad and stuff. So it was just, there were lots of things that, I don't know, selfishly I was upset about. So yeah, it took me, I don't know, I think honestly my entire pregnancy I was kind of grieving and like sad. I was happy because I've always wanted to be a mom. Like
Mhm.
that's just, I've always just taken care of everybody else's kids. Like I
Mhm.
love kids, but it was just hard to come to the realization that like it's not it wasn't about me when I got married. It was about Dustin. Like how, you know,
Sacrificing. You make
yes,
sacrifices
and
when you're
then
married.
but like
Yeah, you have
bringing
another
a
person.
kid is like a whole different because they don't,
Yeah.
they have no, you're their everything.
Yeah.
And I was like, am I enough to be Sagan's everything? I don't know. It was just really hard.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, and it's hard whenever you, like you said, you just got the job that you dreamed of having, what you went to school for
Yeah.
4 years, and just finding that out right after that, you're probably like, wow. So, and you had decided that you didn't want to work whenever you had
Right.
a kid. You wanted to be at home with her. So that
Which was
kind of
hard too because like I loved my job.
Mhm.
Loved teaching. Like that's who I thought I was called to be, like I went through heartache and cries and lots of tears like pushing through school to get that degree, and
Mhm.
then I was like in a classroom and I was like, yes, this is this is what I'm supposed to be doing. Like, I just felt like I was meant to be a teacher, and then I felt like that was kind of taken away from me. I don't know. It's selfish, but I don't know. I
Yeah,
just,
you just put in a lot of hard work. Just and probably some of your grieving, as you say, was probably just the fact that like, oh, I'm not going to be able to be a teacher after this, or I'm going to
mhm,
be at home. I'm not going to be doing this dream job that I've worked hard for too.
mhm,
So I get it. But also I feel like there's so many people that I've known in my life that are like they're meant to be a mom, and
right,
you're definitely one of those people. Like, I mean, you love kids since you were little,
yeah.
and you worked at daycares. Like, you were one of those people that's literally just meant to be a mom. Like,
Thanks.
and you're good at it.
So are you? Literally.
Oh, okay, thanks. But I remember whenever you told me that you were pregnant, you found out. I was literally on a bus with. I was working with CBC at this time. I was an admissions officer because I had graduated in May, and that was the job that I started with just out of college, was being an admissions officer for CBC, which I mean it did have a lot to do with my degree. It was communications, and I
Right.
had to talk with students all the time and just try to get people to come to the school. So I actually went on a trip. It was up to like Springdale, I think, or Rogers or something, and we went to sing. The singers group at CBC is a small group that travels, and they went up to Rogers, and I went with them to just like try to recruit for them and stuff. And I remember we were on the way home. It was like 9 p.m. probably, maybe even later. I don't know. But I was in the bus and I was sitting by myself, and you FaceTimed me, and I was like, and it was so hard because I couldn't make like a big deal,
I
like
know.
freak out because
Yeah.
I was surrounded by people, even though they didn't really know you. Some of them didn't know you
Right.
that well, and they didn't know who I was talking to. I was
Right.
still just like trying to contain my excitement and my shock.
Well,
Well,
listen, I didn't even think I was pregnant, but I had made these chicken quesadillas, still have not had them to this day.
oh
And
no.
Sagan is literally almost 2. But I made them, and I sat down to eat them, and I was like feeling really nauseous. Like, you know how like you have like food aversions or whatever?
Yes. Oh my goodness.
And like I ate it, and I felt so sick, and I was like laying on the couch. I was like, ah, gosh, that I do not feel good. Destin's the one that went. Oh, he's home. Destin went to go get a test for me. He was like, "You're gonna take a test." Like I was like, "No, I'm not pregnant." He's like,
That's
"No."
funny.
So he like made me take one. Yeah,
Wow.
it immediately lit up. Like
That's
or like
hilarious.
two
You're
blue
like,
lines.
yep, I'm
And the
pregnant.
first person literally I wanted to tell was you. I was like, but
I'm glad you did.
I knew you were like on a bus and stuff, but like
Yeah.
I couldn't wait. Like I was like, bro, I gotta tell her.
No, I think I told you right away too
Yeah.
when I found out I was pregnant. Speaking of telling you when I found out I was pregnant, um, so I got married several months after Maddie. You got married in March of 22, and I got married in October. So, I found out I was pregnant 4 months into marriage. You thought yours was quick. No.
Yeah.
Um, so I think we found out in February. And actually, first, I the only reason even thought to take a test. First of all, I'm not that person that takes tests all the time. I know there's a lot of people that are like chronic test takers that take them just all the time, thinking that there
Yeah.
could be possibility. So, anyways, um, I was just like, well, my period hadn't come. Like it was super late, and I was like, that's a little weird, but not like super weird. But so I literally waited until it was like 10 days, or maybe it was a week late or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah.
Or maybe I don't know. It might have been longer than that. Anyways, it's like fine. I guess I'll take a pregnancy test. And I did, and sure enough, I was by myself too. Like I took it. I went in the other room. We were like watching a movie, and I like got up to go to the bathroom,
Mhm.
and I had one in the cabinet, and I literally took it, and it was like, I'm just gonna take it just 'cause like it'll be.
Yeah.
Which actually, I think I had taken one earlier in the week. Maybe that's what happened. And I was late then, but it was not. It was negative, and it could have just been like one of the cheaper ones. I don't know, but
Mhm.
so I was like, I'm just gonna take another one because this is weird that it's still not here. So I took it by myself, and I literally took a video of it because like just in case, you want
Yeah.
to have like the reaction. It's funny. Bro, I was so shocked. I was literally shaking. First of all, even having to take one was made me like nervous,
Mhm.
shaky. And when I flipped it over, I was like, and the video. I literally just put my hand over my mouth, and I was like, could not believe it. I was in shock. And so then I was like, oh my word, I have to act normal. I wanted Keegan to think that we were finding out together if it was negative or not. And so I brought him in there, and I told him, I was like, I just took a pregnancy test. Like, you want to look at it with me or whatever? And this whole time I already knew, so I was like trying to contain
I could not have
every
done that.
emotion. And
Yeah.
basically, I took a video of it again, and I told him to close his eyes and told him we were going to look at it at the same time. And I acted like I was closing my eyes, but I kept my eyes open the whole time. And I flipped it over, and he looked at it, and I looked at him and went, oh, and I was like shocked. And he literally was like, it's negative. It's like, you dummy. No, there's literally 2 lines. I said, no, it's positive. That's 2. And then he was just kind of in shock.
That's so
I
funny.
just remember, oh my goodness. Yeah, so that was that. And then I called you right away, and I was like
Yeah.
still shaking. And I was like, Maddie, like, I don't know.
No, I was excited though, because I was like, praise God, I'm not doing this by myself.
Yeah, true. Yeah, so it was fun, exciting for us to find out
Yeah.
that we were expecting together at the same time. But I mean, I guess my thinking is the reason I was so shocked is like, you don't think that you could get pregnant so quickly either.
Yeah.
For some people, it's like it can take time, and like
Right.
other people have problems that they find out about later on, don't realize that why they have trouble having kids. So I don't know. I guess you never even think that it can happen so quickly, and like I don't know. So that was one of my
Yeah.
reasons I was so shocked, and obviously we weren't like actively trying to have kids yet. So, anyways, that was that. I actually just realized that I said this wrong earlier, but we found out in March that I was pregnant, not February. So, oh goodness, I just hit the mic. But pregnancy. So, I don't know. I do know about you because we've talked about this, but I really was not very sick with pregnancy, which was kind of like, it was nice, honestly,
Yeah.
but I think I was expecting to be sick all the time and just like miserable, which I'm not going to lie, there was times where I felt like nauseous and stuff. So after I worked at CBC, I ended up quitting that job. I didn't really love it. It was just, there was things in the office, being in the office a lot. It was not my thing. I don't like to do office work and stuff. I just don't think I was built for that. So I ended up switching over to working at the Humble Crumb, which is a bakery that's owned by somebody in my church. And I actually was hired to do PR, which is what my degree was in, and like social media and stuff for them. So that's what I kind of had transitioned into working for them. And this was when I was first pregnant. I was working there, and so I do remember I would like make the chicken salad, and the smell of that chicken, getting that chicken out of the crock pot, it would almost make me throw up every time, just because smells are so strong. And
Yes.
like you said, you have food aversion, so things are just not as
Yeah.
good as what you would think they would normally be to you. Your body's just like completely thrown off. So yeah, working with chicken at the Humble Crumb was a no. And actually, there's a lady that worked there, and there was a time where I was doing it, and I was complaining about the smell of the chicken, or just like, I mean, it's an overwhelming smell no matter what. But
Yeah.
I remember her saying, "Are you pregnant?" or something like that, or like hinted at me being pregnant, and I was like, "Oh my man!" I had to deflect it obviously because I was so early
That
on.
was so annoying to me. Like people asking, as soon as you get married,
Yes.
so are you pregnant? Like I
Uh-huh.
cannot stand that.
Or when
like,
are you having
because
kids?
like then whenever you are, it's like
Oh
I
yeah.
don't know. You know what I mean? It's just like don't do that.
Yeah,
I don't
that was
know.
hard. That was hard for me because it was an ongoing joke
And
for
you never know, like if people are having problems, they want to
True.
have kids, but they're like having problems. Like I don't know. I just feel like you should just stay away from that topic. It would
Yeah.
just bother me though because we weren't trying to have a baby,
Mhm.
but then whenever we were pregnant but weren't telling anyone, and people would like ask me about it, I'm like, could you just like wait a second?
Yeah.
I'll tell you
seriously.
in just like
And it's
a couple
awkward. You
weeks.
don't want to have to lie, but
I
like you have
know.
to kind of. I
Exactly.
don't know. So it
It's
puts you in an
just-
uncomfortable position.
Yeah,
But
I don't like that anyways.
what was pregnancy like for you? Sickness and all that.
I had morning sickness. It was not as bad as it could have been. It was like when I first woke up, if I didn't like, I don't know, I would just be dry heaving.
Gross. Ugh, it's the worst.
I had gotten completely ready for work one day, and I felt so sick the whole time I was putting makeup on, but I was like, I mean, it happened every morning. It was like just a first trimester thing though. So,
Right.
and it was literally only right after I got up. Like,
Huh.
once I got going, I was fine. I never was nauseous, so I honestly couldn't complain about how that went. But I had gotten all the way ready or whatever, And normally I would like dry heave as soon as I got up, and then I would put my makeup on. But this morning, I don't know. I guess it didn't come until later. So I had all my makeup on and go to the bathroom, and I'm just like dry heaving, like trying to throw up. But obviously, I didn't have anything in my stomach. And Dustin comes in there. He's like, "Are you okay?" And my mascara had like smeared, like,
no.
cause I cry when I
Yes,
throw
me
up.
too. My eyes
And
water.
so literally my mascara was just like running down my face. I looked like a clown, and I was like,
Aw.
no.
You had just gotten ready for
Yeah,
work. Oh
yeah.
man, that stinks. Yeah.
It was not as bad though as some people. I had a pretty good pregnancy
Yeah.
until the very end. I was so swollen. I had a lot of fluid built up. I thought I had like preeclampsia, but everything, like my blood pressure, everything was normal. I just was so big. My ankle swelled, but I did have a job where I stood all day
Mhm.
long. I was teaching, I was talking all day. Like it was a very like intense job, I guess. I wasn't just sitting down.
With kids, little one,
Yes,
like yeah, little kids.
5-year-olds.
Yeah.
But no, they were very stinky to me. Like my
Oh
smell, I was
yeah.
like a drug dog. I was like,
No, it's crazy how
I
your
could
senses
smell
smell.
so
Yeah.
good, but it was so bad because
Yeah.
like I had air freshener after air freshener in my classroom. I had the air on. It was like a refrigerator, but like a Bath and Body Works refrigerator in my classroom because it smelled really good. Because I could not stand. They would come in from
Yes, from
outside and smell like
outside.
wet dogs,
Oh
and I'm like, ugh, I could
no,
not. I'm like, get away from me.
I don't like that smell when I'm not pregnant.
No,
So I
it
can
was
only
so bad.
imagine how bad. Yeah.
But and then I was so hot because I was so
Mhm.
big.
In summer, you had
Yes.
so your Sagan was born in June.
June, which I don't know. I was heavy, so I think that's why I was so hot
Mm.
because I just had
Well,
all
your
this
hormones
extra
too
weight. Yeah,
in pregnancy, but yeah. So our kids are 5 months apart. Sagan
Mhm.
was born in June and Selah was born in November. So our seasons were kind of off. Like
yeah,
I was
they
bigger
were.
pregnant towards, which I never really got big. That was something else. Like I just did not show. It took me so long. I probably didn't have any kind of a bump until I was like 30 weeks. I'm not even kidding
Yeah,
you. I just
you're small.
people did not know that I was pregnant. It was weird. I don't know. I think that I also just didn't have much fluid. Like
Yeah.
it was just baby, pretty much all baby.
Yes, it was all baby. You were
'Cause
so cute. Me, I looked like
uh-uh.
a beach whale.
See,
My
I felt
nose spread across my face.
stop.
My face was like a round dodgeball. My ankles, I had baseballs for ankles.
Oh, I do remember your ankles being so swollen. Oh my goodness.
Boy,
Yeah. I mean, I worked at the Humble Crumb, which I was on my feet a lot
yeah.
during hours that we were open, so that was hard, but like I also felt like I wasn't that big, and I kind of weirdly enough was like insecure about not being big. But my problem was I always thought, oh, people are just gonna think I'm
Think I'm
fat,
fat,
like
yeah.
I've put on so much weight. It doesn't even look like I'm pregnant. Like
No, but you could tell you just weren't big. You literally are like a dream pregnancy. Like you just had all baby. So you were like still yourself. You look like yourself, but you were just pregnant. Literally what every girl dreams of. Me, I was
stop.
the Atlantic
You're being hard on
Ocean.
yourself. No. I mean, some
So
people,
much
it is
fluid.
weird how that works. Yeah, like some people have more fluid
Oh
than
my
others.
gosh.
I don't know. But, and then like, I think I only gained like 8 pounds my whole pregnancy, which is crazy because she was 6 pounds. So it's like I gained 2.
Exactly.
But then after that, lost a lot of weight too after I had her
Yeah,
and stuff. It's
you
weird.
did. You
how that
looked so good.
works.
I remember coming to your
Skinniest I've
house.
ever
I was
been.
like, dang, they took the baby and like
Half
made,
of me, no.
literally, you were so little. And
I
I'm
wish I
like,
could be that little right now.
I just
Get
was
out of
so
here.
big.
No,
Oh
you
gosh,
weren't.
It was a hard
Oh,
time.
but it's normal. It's normal to gain
I gained
weight.
50 pounds. That's bad. You're
No,
only
it's
supposed to gain
normal.
like 20.
That's normal.
I think like 20 is
Really?
normal.
I don't know.
I got on that weight, that scale every time, and they were like shaking their head. They're like, oh my gosh, this girl,
Goodbye. Stop.
if she don't stop.
Quit.
Okay. Anyways, I'm done talking
But
about
I
that.
guess now we could talk about birth stories. How did your birth go with Sagan? Like everything.
It was the best thing I've ever experienced in my whole life.
Mhm.
I'm not kidding. Like I wanted to do it again after I did it. I was like, round 2. Like it was so. I did get the epidural. So,
Mhm.
but most of the reason why I got the epidural is because I wasn't progressing. I
Mhm.
was at a
Yep.
4 for so long. Like my body, and I was having contractions like a minute apart, literally, like from the moment I was induced.
Mm-hmm.
So from like the moment
Pitocin. They put
my
you on
water
Pitocin.
broke,
Yeah.
which my water broke in the middle of the night. I went to the hospital at like 10 o'clock. They got me on they inserted the Cytotec in.
Mm-hmm.
That broke my water. So I think I was already in labor kind of, because I remember.
Well, you were past your due date, too.
Yes, I was. I was like 3 days past or whatever, but I was out here working at our house helping Dustin with something, and I was having contractions all day, but I didn't think that's what that was. I thought that it was just like my stomach was like really
Right.
tense. I didn't know.
You don't know anything. That's the hard
and
thing
so when I was
whenever
at
it's
the
your first.
hospital, she was like, "You're having a contraction." I was like, "Oh, well, I've been having those all day." Like I
Yeah.
didn't know. So I think my body was already like preparing for that. Like I was already in labor kind of. Anyway,
Right.
so whatever they gave me was just like speeding it up basically. So yeah, once they started me on Pitocin, my contractions were literally a minute apart, and that was like exhausting because you can't even catch your breath. And then you're like, when is this going to end? It's not even about the pain. It's like you just never know how long it's going to go.
Right.
Like if I knew I had like another 30 minutes, an hour, 2 hours, if I just knew there was like a time,
An end, when the
an
end was, yeah.
yes, I could push through. But it's like my body is not progressing, and this is exhausting. I was so exhausted because I didn't sleep that night.
Right.
That's so dumb that they make you go in the night before, because like you're not sleeping that night.
No. Right.
But yeah, so I got the epidural. I went in at 10, ended up getting the epidural at like 7 a.m. the next morning, and then had Sagan at 12:47.
Wow.
In the afternoon. So
yeah, the epidural sped everything up
yes,
for you.
I went from a 4 to an 8 within an hour, and then I think it kind of slowed down a little bit. But yeah, it was so, I don't know. It was like a.
And you couldn't feel anything. You were completely numb from the epidural. You
I
said.
don't know. He was a very specialist in that. I don't know. He did a very good job. Like I couldn't feel anything.
Yeah.
Pressure, nothing.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was nice though.
And how much did she weigh again at birth? 7 pounds?
7:13.
7
pounds, 13 ounces.
So she was almost 8.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
She was chubby.
Yeah.
She looked chubby. You know how like they just look swollen.
Yeah.
Well, Sayla was tiny, but
no, they
all just are like
they're
puffy.
yeah.
Yeah.
They go through a lot if you think about it, going through birth and
Right.
the birth canal and everything.
Being
It's a
squished
lot.
out.
Yeah, trauma. But yeah, well, good. Yeah, I remember you telling me you had a pretty good experience with your birth and everything.
But you did not. So.
Oh yeah. Well, first
things
things first, I didn't want to get induced. Like I never really thought about being induced until it was like close to my due date. So I went in at 39 weeks, and of course the doctors a lot of the time kind of try to push you to get induced or just ask about it because they like things to be on their schedule, which I understand, but also like don't push it. I think you shouldn't push it.
No, and
which
at
he
the
didn't
end
push
of
it.
the day, it's like it's really about the nurses. Like
Yeah,
the nurses
true.
are the ones that I don't know.
They do the majority of it. Yeah, that's
Yes.
true. They
Like I was like in there doing all this work, and the doctor didn't even come in. She was like, "Call me when she's at a certain point," and I was like, "Wait, I'm like actually in labor right now. Like, what do you mean call me?"
Yeah, no, that is true. It's mostly nurses until the end. Pushing and stuff is really the only time you're with your doctor. But yeah, so basically, I decided last minute when I was only like 3 days before my due date. No, 4, because I was due November 17th and she was born the 13th. So actually, I went in on the 12th to be induced, and like you said, they want you to come in the night before. So we went in at 9 p.m. It was on a Sunday. It was after we went to church that night, and literally went to the hospital after church, and so that was fun. It was kind of like the thing about being induced is like the baby's coming, so that was kind of like fun, but really the only reason I wanted to get induced, which it seems so silly now, is Thanksgiving was the next week. And I just thought, well, I definitely could have her on Thanksgiving. Like, there's a high possibility your first kid, you usually go late, like past your due date and stuff. And so, anyways, that was kind of why I decided. I was like, well, I'm just going to get it over with now and have it. I don't know. I thought it would be kind of nice to have a little baby at Thanksgiving, whatever. So, yeah, I went in the Sunday. It was actually a week and a half before Thanksgiving. So, yeah, so I went in to be induced, and I was not not ready. My body was not ready to have a baby. Like, I was not dilated or anything. So they gave me the Cytotec overnight, and I also had been feeling contractions when they did that, and I was like, oh, so this was contractions the whole time, because I had had them shortly before I had Selah. I had been really sick with some kind of like stomach virus or something where it was just like throwing up a lot, and after I had that sickness, I went tried to work at the Humble Crumb like the next day, and I remember the whole day I had that tight feeling, which it was contractions the whole time. I didn't realize I
Mhm.
was having so many contractions, like heavy contractions. They ended up sending me home because well, one, because of that, which they didn't know it was contractions either, obviously, but I just kept having to stop and like sit there for a while. And then I just also wasn't feeling myself either. I was real weak and stuff, probably just because I had been so sick. So I remember um, like, oh, this is what contractions are. So I've been having contractions and
Right.
just didn't know it. And so, anyways, yeah, we were all night, literally till the next morning. I think I was only at 1 or 2 still by the next morning, and which is crazy and
Mhm.
extremely slow considering that. I don't know. So, anyways, they put me on Pitocin, obviously, and I think they broke my water when I was only at a 1.
Oh
I
my
was 1 and they
goodness.
broke my water. So yeah, and that was kind of weird. It was my doctor that came in and did it, and they're like, I guess they were trying to get my body to get going, like to keep it going. So I was like, wow, this is kind of early, but okay. And at that point, obviously, I hadn't gotten the epidural or anything, and so I had labored all night into the morning, and then by the afternoon, I would say, or maybe noon ish, they were coming back, and still they were just saying like I was having pretty heavy contractions at this point because I had been on pitocin for a while, and I mean they were, like you said, they were basically like a minute and a half apart, and I was like fine with it. The pain, I had like the ball, the medicine ball. I had Keegan. I actually had a really good friend of mine, Chelsea, was there with me and was helping through labor and telling Keegan kind of what to do and how to help me and stuff. And so they would help. I think I had back laboring really bad, which also I've heard it makes it 10 times worse because all the pain that I was feeling was in my back, pressure in my back, and so apparently that's not really normal. But so it was rough, and I was like, they once again came to check me, and I just was not progressing. They were like, this is going really slow. They even had mentioned sending me home and coming back.
You're
I
joking.
was like, no, I am having this baby. Like, I am not
Yeah.
leaving. So that's when they brought it up to me. They were like saying something about the
How
epidural.
would they
Like, you
send
should.
you home if your water was
I know,
broken?
that's what I'm saying. It was weird. It was so,
That
I
is
was like,
interesting.
send me home. So anyways, I think at this point, before I had gotten the epidural, the babies, they have, a monitor on their heart rate. Well, her heart was going up and down. It was dropping. Her rate would go up really high, and then it would spike and go really low, and like would be so slow. And I was hearing it on the monitor, and so I started to get worried and kind of told them like, this is what's happening. Like,
Yeah.
and so, anyways, at this point, they had said just my body was kind of in distress. I don't know. She was in distress. She had been in there for a while without water. Like my water was broke early on. So they had to actually mention C-section to me, and I was like, no. I mean, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with it. My mom had all C-sections, but just I expected to have her naturally, and
Yeah.
I didn't even think about C-section. That was never on my mind. I didn't think I'd ever have a problem to where I had to have a C-section, but they brought it up, and I just remember, first of all, I was tired because I'd been up all night and just
Right.
couldn't sleep, obviously, and stuff, and I just remember losing it. I had a breakdown, like I was crying, and Keegan at that point, actually, that's what got him. Like, he was very upset. He had to go in the bathroom and like he couldn't stand to see me crying. He was
Yeah.
like, "This is terrible," and so I was just like, I don't want to get a C-section, so whatever we can do to not where I don't have to have a C-section. So I ended up, they just said, well, you could get the epidural and see if if it progresses your body, and then we can also put some water back in you to see if that will help her because she was in distress and like calm her heart
It
rate and
sounds
stuff
to me
down.
like they broke your water way
Too
too
early.
early.
That I mean, when they did it at a 1, I was thinking this seems really early, but I don't know.
Yeah.
So, anyways, they ended up giving me the epidural, which of course was instant relief, and I was like, "Wow, this
Mhm.
is amazing." But it was weird because I could still feel my legs really, like I could move my legs fine. I probably
I
could have gotten out
couldn't
of that
move.
bed. No, I mean, I was like, I could probably get up and walk right now. I was moving them like with no problem.
No, I literally could not. I couldn't even wiggle my toes.
That's crazy to
Like
me.
that's
See,
how.
yeah, and but I couldn't feel any contractions, so that was
Yeah.
nice. It helped me rest more, and
Breathe.
yes, and it did. It made my body
Relax.
go it quicker, dilate quicker and stuff and relax. And they put the water back in, and that helped her. Like, thank goodness, so many prayers were answered. Like, her heart rate kind of was stable again, and everything seemed to be okay. So then I started progressing quicker, and this was the afternoon. It was like probably 2 or 3 in the afternoon at this point. And then I just kept dilating more and more, and then I went from like, I feel like I was at like a 6 to almost a 10 very quickly. And so I ended up having her at 7:30 at night. The next night I went in the night before at 9 p.m. So it was like it was over 20 or almost 24 hours, I guess,
Yeah.
of labor.
Wow.
And it would have been way longer if I didn't get the epidural and
Right.
stuff. And so, anyways, yeah, whenever I was pushing, I feel like I felt a lot of pressure and pain. I did, but I still didn't feel any contractions, like I was saying. And
Mhm.
but shortly after she was born, there's a video my mom took of her. They put her on my chest, and first of all, she looked like an alien. They had the long
Yes.
head, and she was blue,
They have
purple.
stuff all over them. Like they're
Yes.
not
Oh my
even.
goodness.
Yeah.
But she wasn't really crying, and that kind of scared me. And that was like, they always say like if
Right.
they're not crying, you should be worried.
Yeah.
And she wasn't crying, and so I just was like frozen in fear, but also excitement. Like I just was in
Yeah.
shock, and then I
feel
saw.
like the pitocin and all the medicines that are being
Yes.
pushed through your body. I felt like it was an out of body
Yeah.
experience
No,
too,
definitely. It's
because I was there in the moment, but I also felt like I was like kind of loopy. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, it's true. But yeah, she wasn't really crying, and like she was purple, like I was saying. And then I noticed the nurses and stuff got kind of nervous, and they quickly grabbed her from me. And at this point, I was freaking out. I was like, "What's going on? Like, why are they taking her from me? Why can I not hold her?" Well, anyways, then I heard them. One of the nurses came to me and said that she's got a lot of fluid in her, and we're gonna try to drain it out of her. So then I hear them over there frantically, like running around. I just see the doctors, and
Mhm.
well, first of all, the doctor was sewing me up while he's sitting there talking to me, saying,
Yes.
"It's gonna be okay. It's gonna be okay." I'm like, "Oh, is it?" At this point, I'm paranoid. I start crying. My mom is there, and luckily, and she helped me. She went to be with the baby with Selah, and was like over there by her while they were trying to get fluid out of her and stuff. And anyways, they finally got enough fluid out where I heard a cry from her, and I was just like, "Whew, okay, like she's
Yeah.
crying, it's okay."
Isn't
And
it
she
funny
was,
how like it turns around? Like now, if they're crying, you're like, oh shoot.
yeah, right, yeah, exactly. But
But
I
yeah.
was just, I felt relief when I heard
Yeah.
her crying, but I still saw them going frantically, and like I don't know, so that still was kind of stressing me out. But anyways, afterwards they still couldn't get her oxygen level back to where they wanted it to be, but they were like, "We're just gonna try to put her on you, and like do chest to chest, skin to skin contact." And so I did skin to skin with her, and sure enough, her oxygen levels like even out, and they were like, "That's all she
Aw.
needed was her mom." And I
Yeah.
was just like, "Oh," it was really sweet. But the nurse came up to me afterwards and said, "I've never seen that much fluid in one baby." So obviously, when
Goodness.
they put the water
Yeah.
back inside of me,
That
it
was
didn't
like.
help. It made it. She obviously took in a lot of that water somehow. So
Aw.
yeah, it was scary, and there was a lot of moments where I was thinking, "Am I seriously going to lose this baby after I've had already
Such a.
birthed her and
Right.
everything, and like carried her for 9 months?" So
Mhm.
it was kind of, I would say, it was a pretty traumatic. There was other things involved too, but it was just pretty traumatic birth for me.
It's
So
a lot.
I think in the future, I've been saying if and when I have more kids, I would like to not be induced. That's
Same.
something I would like to
Same.
stay away from. And if my body goes into labor naturally, that'd be great. Otherwise, of course, sometimes you go too far past your due date and you have
Yeah.
to be induced and stuff like that. But
No. I was just to a point, and obviously it's your first pregnancy too. I was so done with being pregnant. I did
miserable.
not want to be pregnant anymore. I was like,
Yeah.
this 9 months is way too
Mhm.
long. I don't know.
The
I was
end is
over
hard.
it. I
The
was like,
end.
I'm just ready to have this baby. I'm ready
Yeah.
for her to be here. Like you're anxious to like meet the baby, but you're also just like so tired of being pregnant.
Right. Yeah. And that's all for this week's episode. We'll see you guys next time.
Bye.
Bye.